In this video, we're going to create our own functions. So to do that, we'll use the def keyword, and this keyword indicates that this is a function definition. So let's suppose we need to create a function and we're going to name it print twice, and it might take some arguments, so the empty parentheses after the name indicate that this function doesn't take any argument. However, we can add something here. If we have an input, we can add it here and we can use it then inside the body of this function. But for now, let us print hello and print one more time hello. So when we define this function, after using the colon, we need to indent whatever we have in the body. So for example, if let's suppose we don't indent, and let's run this code, we'll get this error, expected an indented block. So as we did with the if statement, this is the same case here. So now we have our function. Let's use it here. So let's type print twice and run this code, see what we're going to get. We're going to get hello twice. So let's be clear here. How do we create the function? We'll just simply use the def keyword followed by the function name, and then we write whatever we want to do inside this function. Then when we want to call this function, we use the same exact name. For example, here we use print twice. So to use this function, we'll simply write print twice and it will work automatically. Now, once we define this function, we can use it in another function. So for example, we have the print twice, and let me define a new function and call it print 4 times. And in this case, we'll simply call print twice 2 times. Print twice and print twice, and here we'll call print 4 times, run this code, we're going to get hello 4 times. So what we did here is we called this function print 4 times, so we go ahead and look what do we have in this print 4 times function. We have print twice, so we need to go to print twice, and what do we have here? Print hello. We print hello first time, print hello, so we print hello another time. Now after finishing from this function, we go back to our print 4 times. We also have print twice again, so we go back to print twice, print hello 2 more times, and that is a total of 4 times. So this is how we can use a function inside the other. Let's now talk about fruitful and void functions. So here, for example, these two functions, print twice and print 4 times, are void functions since we just use them to print something on the screen, or for example, if we want to have some other effect, we can use the void functions as long as we don't want a return value. So this is a void function. Let's suppose we need to create a fruitful function, and whenever we create this fruitful function, we almost always want to do something with the result. And to use this result, we need to have a return value. So let's suppose we have an integer inside this function and it is equal to 10. We can't use this integer outside of this function since this integer is a local variable inside. So for example, if I try to print x, and let me run this code, I'll get name x is not defined. So how can we use x outside of this function? And here we can return. So for example, if we want to return x, we'll simply type return x, and in this case, whenever we use this print twice method, we can store this x inside a variable. So let me delete these, and let's suppose that this function is called multiply or multiply x, and it should get a value or an argument, and let's suppose that it is x, and in this case let me just define x before x is equal to 2 and x by 2. So what we're going to do is to create a function that takes as an argument x and multiply it by 2. So x will be equal to x times 2, and then we'll simply return x. Now if we call this method multiply by 2 and run this code, we'll get nothing, since this method just execute and now we have the value of x, which is equal to 4. However, we need to store this value in a variable. So let's create a variable called result and call the method here, and here we have, suppose we have x. Now if we go ahead and print the result, we're going to get 4. So what we did here is that we created a variable x with a value of 2, and we created a function that multiplies this x with 2 and return this x, then print it out. So for example, we can modify this code to ask the user to enter a specific number. So to do that, let's create a variable called x and input, please enter a number to multiply, and let's run this code. We're going to get please enter a number to multiply, and if we enter 5 we get 55. So we can notice that there is a bug here. Now what Python is doing is he's considering that x is a string and then multiplied by 2, so whatever we have. So for example, if we enter Hadi, we'll get Hadi twice. So it just concatenate two strings together. So to deal with that, as we did before, we can use the try and catch. But for now, let me just uh, convert this x into an integer. So x will be equal to int of x, because we're absolutely sure that we're going to enter a number. And in this case, let me try 5, and we'll get 5 multiplied by 2, which is 10. So this is it for the fruitful and for void functions. See you in the next video.